Your reaction to Chris Paul agreeing to a sign-in trade to the Rockets?
Well, it's huge. It weakens the Rockets' bench, obviously, but you're getting an elite player. Chris Paul is an elite NBA player worth more than the max contract. The cap means some players will necessarily be underpaid. He's one of them. And the winner of any NBA deal ever, and I know this is not a regular trade because it's a sign-in trade, but the winner is always a team that gets the best player, and Chris Paul is by so far the best player that the Rockets have just improved. Now, do they threaten the Warriors? Let's put it this way. No one genuinely threatens the Warriors. The Warriors will win the West again, barring, catastrophic injury or weakening through free agency. But I said, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that the one team with a puncher's chance is Houston. Because Daryl Morey thinks outside the box, he's a creative thinker, because D'Antoni's system gives you a puncher's chance with all those threes they're taking. He doubled down on what he did in Phoenix and said, let's take this all the way to its logical conclusion. It's like a fighter who gets in, guys, and he's being outboxed, and instead of the corner saying, just keep fighting behind your jab, when you're like, it's not going to matter. Floyd's going to box the hell. What are you talking about? He's just not as good. Instead of that, the corner correctly tells him, go for broke. In other words, it's probably going to hasten your demise. Going for broke probably means you lose even worse, but at least it also gives you a chance to win. And Daryl Morey on a podcast in the middle of last year, I'm forgetting whose it was already, I apologize, said, look, no one's going to beat the Warriors, but we have like a 1 in 10 chance, whatever it was, of doing that in 4 games because we are going to throw up a lot of threes. And maybe if we get hot, we can do it. So they already have that going for them, and they just added another elite piece. The question is, with 2 guys who like to dribble the ball so much, can D'Antoni get them, both Chris Paul and James Harden, to give up the ball and to keep
you get all those tattoos?
And if they can, they are the only team with a puncher's chance to beat the Warriors.
There are 3 angles, I think, that I try to make sense of this from. First of all, the Clippers angle. It makes sense. Clearly what they thought is they're about to lose Chris Paul. So no matter what they got in return is a net plus. It's something they weren't going to have should he walk, 4 or 5 days from now in free agency. So getting Pat Beverly, Sam Decker, Lou Williams, and a 2018 first-rounder, which will probably be low, it's the Houston Rockets, you just have to applaud it. How much better a deal could you have gotten? Now, from Houston's angle, I have concerns, Max. I hear what you're saying. Accumulating talent has to be done. And when you can accumulate a guy like Chris Paul, you have to say yes. But I have real fit concerns. That last sentence of the entire thing you said, I think carries a lot of weight. 2 guys that dribble the ball. The Rockets unlocked something last year. Number 1, they unlocked James Harden. And number 2, that unlocked their team. Harden went from 7 assists a season to 11 assists a season. And the team went from 41 wins to, 50, 55 wins for the Rockets this past year. It clearly made their team sing. Now, here's my last question, though. Clippers angle, Rockets angle. Why does Chris Paul do this? Why?
Let me just give you one bit of a note here. Chris Paul has opted into the final year of his contract, so he's under contract with the Rockets for just 1 year.
Okay, so here's my question. Why doesn't Chris Paul wait 4 or 5 days? If he waits 4 or 5 days, he gets to pick his destination, does he not? If he waits 4 or 5 days, to agree to this, to agree to this one, what does it say again, Cassidy? He's going to do what?
He's opted into for the final year of his contract. So the contract he had with the Clippers is, so basically he's only under contract 1 year.
Yeah, and he can get more in that 1 year from the Clippers than he would as a free agent with the Spurs or the Rockets. So he gets more on a 1 year deal. But still, I think he took away a lot of freedom from his potential choices. He can go anywhere he wants.
But I don't know if anybody was going to come and get him.
Well, the Spurs reportedly were very interested.
Right, but they reportedly, remember, I was told by Jerry Krause that I was going to be a Bull player like 3 times. And then Brad Sellers was in that spot. So you cannot believe what they're going to say because they're throwing it up in the air, too. You know that you got a team, you're going to Houston that just lost to the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. So you know you got a chance of getting further in the playoffs with that team, with that mentality. Plus, if it's a 1 year deal and you get all the way to the finals again, if you get in the finals, you're great. Then everybody wants you. Everybody can see that you're worth your value in gold.
Can they compete with the Warriors?
Yeah, I think they can. I think the Warriors are going to be beat up this summer. A lot of guys are going to start feeling themselves and going different places. So you got to watch it.
Sal, do you think – I always thought that San Antonio would be the right place for Chris Paul, because if anyone could get him – like, to me, Chris Paul is like a perfect point guard, and yet in this day and age, there are – even though he's perfect – there's somehow guys who are better. They shoot a little better from farther away. Their handles are a little better. Whatever it is, they don't dribble as much. They don't monopolize the ball as much. But I always thought if you put Chris Paul and everything he could do, and you gave him to Popovich, oh, my God.
Right.
Like, now you'd see the as good as that guy can be. Do you think D'Antoni can do the same sort of thing with Chris Paul that he did with Harden? And can those two coexist in the backcourt playing in a D'Antoni system?
Yes, I do. I do think they can play in the same system. We got two bigs. You can have two guards. And to have a great guard backcourt, it would be a wonderful thing. They did the same thing with Golden State. Sometimes Clay would bring the ball up. The other times you would have Steph bring the ball up. The difference is whoever can get the ball up fast enough, get to the rim. If you can't get to the rim, kick it to a person who can shoot. That's the offense. It's a lot of run and gun, and I think it's going to be great for Chris to do.
I'm just trying to give a little more information as we continue to get it. Now, the Rockets couldn't sign him as a free agent because they couldn't fit him under the cap. So that is why they traded for him.